What is up, my friends? How are we? It is Thursday night. It is the late night agenda, and you're very welcome along to this evening's show. As always, we're going to be talking about transfer gossip because, let's be honest, that's what we all want to discuss. We're going to be asking about the race for Florian Wirtz. Are Real Madrid about to come in and hijack Liverpool's move? I don't know for certain, but we'll discuss it. We're also going to speak about Ibrahima Konate, his future. We're going to talk a little bit about Fofana from Lyon. A couple of interesting bits and pieces developing around the future of Harvey Elliott and, of course, Luis Diaz as well. We'll try to keep you as up to date as we can with those tonight. And, you know, anybody who wasn't with us last night who wants to come in and banter United or Arsenal, you know, the floor is yours. Feel free to do it. So most importantly, though, wherever you guys are, I do hope you're having a good day. Thank you so much again for coming in to have a chat with me. We've a lot to get through today. I mean, there's no real bona fide updates on Florian Wirtz. Let me just be upfront and honest about that one. But we are starting to see certain patterns emerging. And again, I wouldn't expect a resolution on Wirtz in the next few days, one way or the other. We know he's currently on holidays with his family. We know that he wants to take time to think about his future. So on him tonight, I've got nothing brand new that I can bring to the table other than the potential of Real Madrid coming in. But that is contingent on them selling a certain Brazilian. So we'll talk about that as well. The future of Darwin Núñez and Julian Alvarez, we'll be discussing that because there has been some interesting developments on both sides of that conversation. You know, we know that Atleti want Darwin, we'll talk about that, but apparently we could be still in the mix for Julian Alvarez, and it may be possible despite what the president of Atletico Madrid has said. So that and more to come up. As always, though, do let us know your thoughts and throw them into the comment chat and we'll get through it as quick as we can. Right, Patrick, the most satisfying work day since a long time when you're the only Liverpool fan and work with 12 United fans and 2 didn't show up today. You know what? I don't blame them. I've been chatting with my United supporting mates quite a bit. Some of them have gone to ground and just aren't answering messages, and then some of them are just in shock still. They can't believe that they actually lost to Spurs in the European final, because that's like the biggest slap in the face of all of it. Not only did they lose the Europa League final, which they did previously, of course, as well, to Unai Emery's Villarreal, if my memory is right, but now they've only gone and lost to Spurs. The Spursiest of all the Spurs. So, right, let's get into the comments as well. Welcoming everybody in that, member or non-member. You're all free to chat and we do appreciate your support. Let me go and say hello to a few people in here. Till Sheen, lovely to see you with my man as well. So I want to actually just comment on something. I'm not sure if the gentleman in question is watching, but I received an email from somebody just asking about a refund on their membership. And I wasn't aware that people maybe didn't know this, but just so it's upfront and clear with everybody, the likes of any payments processed or anything like that, we have no control over refunding any of that. It is all done through YouTube and Google. So if you've taken out a membership that you'd like to cancel for us or any other channel, just remember that it is YouTube that you need to contact on it. There's nothing we can actually do to help you in that regard because we don't have the ability to do it. So if you're ever wondering about stuff like that, again, just to clear that up, because apparently it was something that wasn't known to everyone. So there you go. Any questions ever on anything like that, though, do feel free to let us know. We'll do our best to get to them. We really need Wirtz, said Unit. Julian Alvarez and Wirtz, imagine, said Jack Allen. Jack, my friend, I've been imagining all day long. I've been imagining so much, mate, that it nearly was time to go and get the tissue paper or that special sock that us gentlemen may have. But ultimately, do I think I see a world where Liverpool sign both of them? No, probably not. Let's be realistic about it. But it is the calibre of player that we should be talking about. And I will be a happy man if either one of Wirtz or Alvarez arrived at the football club. You know, I would be over the moon about either one. What have we got? It only took 1.5 goal to beat Manchester United, said Tyrese. Can't wait for Sunday to watch the boys lift that Premier League trophy, said Stevie Kirkham. Mate, I am buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing for Sunday. And of course for everyone that's going to the parade on Monday as well. What a remarkable day that's going to be for everyone. So look, let's get into the news. Let's talk about Rodrigo first, because he kind of links all of this stuff together tonight. So on Rodrigo, it looks as if Real Madrid's asking price is about £67 million. Now, I don't know if Liverpool are going to be in the shake-up for Rodrigo or not. I truly don't. But Arsenal's name has been mentioned. And it looks as if if they ever did make a play for Wirtz, it would be after they sell Rodrigo. So I don't know if that means that Liverpool or Bayern Munich or anybody else needs to hope that Florian Wirtz makes his mind up before they sell Rodrigo. But one thing I don't want to do as a Liverpool, I can cope losing out to Bayern. But if we lost another player or they went to Real Madrid, I think my head might explode. Genuinely, I'm so sick of that club that I would hate to lose another player to them. So for me, I don't know what the future of Rodrigo is, but the asking price seems reasonable. About £67 million or €80 million. And that seems a fair, reasonable price tag. But what do we think? Do we think we are in the mix on this one? Because I really don't know what's going on with Rodrigo. It does look like he's going to be departing. Reports in Spain with the price tag seem realistic. I would have guessed they would have wanted about €100 million. €80 million seems like a decent deal for somebody, but will it be us? Stevie Boy, always a pleasure, my man, said, which deal gets done, Wirtz or Alvarez? I'm probably edging to Wirtz, and I don't know if that gets done, but again, I don't know how difficult the negotiations are going to prove with Atletico Madrid about Julian Alvarez. I will read you out something in a moment that has been put out there into the world, and if it's true, we'd certainly be in the mix, but I think we have a decent chance in both, but I'm not feeling overly confident in either, if that makes sense. I wouldn't say that neither are impossible, but I wouldn't say that either of them are extremely likely either. Who's the more likely? Probably Wirtz, because I think that will just come down to what the player wants. And if he signalled he wants to come to Liverpool, we know Leverkusen would rather sell him to us than they would to Bayern Munich. So I would edge towards Wirtz being a little bit more achievable. But let's talk a little bit about Julian Alvarez. So anybody who's on X and follows Liverpool probably knows the account Moby Hake, and they've posted to say, news from Madrid outlet Chiringuito TV say that Liverpool and Arsenal are interested in Julian Alvarez. Meetings with interested clubs begin next week. If the offer is bigger than the fee Atletico Madrid paid, Julian Alvarez will ask for it to be analysed and accepted. Now, what I can say to you is Alvarez would absolutely be up with the prospect of coming to Liverpool Football Club. I think the fee that they paid was about, if my memory's right, I want to say it was about €90 million, there or thereabouts. So it would have to be a very, very significant fee. But remember, Darwin Núñez could hold a potential key to that deal. Darwin and Atleti are something that could happen regardless of whether we go for Alvarez or not. But we've seen reports before, I think it was Sam Maguire's piece, suggested that Liverpool would be more flexible on a deal for Darwin Núñez with Atletico Madrid and may even knock the price down a little bit if Julian Alvarez was included in the potential, part exchange or whatever way you want to word it. So unsure how excited or not to be on that one. But I've always been getting the indication that Alvarez has been unhappy with how the season's gone with Atleti. I think it was the first season in his professional career that he hasn't won a trophy yet. But who would you guys prefer? Let me ask you that for the first poll of the night. Who would you prefer? So, 1 second. And then I'll go through more of the news for you. Right, so who would you prefer? Wirtz, Alvarez. Right, so crack on. We're voting on that one. Let me know if you had to have just one. Who would you prefer, Florian Wirtz or Julian Alvarez? And we will come back to revisit that one in a while. Blaine Williams, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras, my man. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Right, more news to go. Let's get cracking. So, Liverpool have made an astronomical offer for Florian Wirtz. That's according to Sport in Spain. An astronomical offer. Now, we know that the asking price is rumoured to be about €150 million for Florian Wirtz, which is fair to say that would smash our transfer record and would make him the first £100 million plus player to join Liverpool Football Club. But one question that's been asked by a lot of Liverpool fans when we've been discussing things over the last few weeks has been, where does he play? And is he going to be the guy through the centre? And I can't answer the second question for you, but the first part of it, well, he could operate anywhere. There's some reports that suggest he's viewed as a long-term successor to Salah. Others that I've read today said he could operate centrally in a deeper position from the striker or coming in off the left-hand side. And the interesting part about that left-hand side thing is, of course, could that be linked with a potential department for Diaz or departure, for Diaz, or am I clutching with that one? Because Diaz in Barcelona is still a story that has legs. They're trying to just give him a guarantee that they could, one, agree the fee, and two, register the player, because they have to sort out Lamine Yamal's new contract as well, and we know about the financial headaches that they have at Barcelona. He's talking with his family, according to Fabrizio Romano, Florian Wirtz, about the options available to him. Now, let me say one thing. A couple of Liverpool fans, us included early doors, have been fooled, hoodwinked by that Bayern Space account. Apparently, that's just a nonsense account. Put it up there with the ENQUIRIES of this world, according to German football fans anyway. So if you're looking at that Bayern Space account, which I did, because, we had to do our research on it and figure that out, but they've been saying that he's going to end up at Liverpool, but apparently that account is parody, if that's the right word to use, but certainly not one, according to German football fans, that we should be hanging our hat on. He's known to be a bit of a Kentucky Fried merchant. Right, so if Florian Wirtz does choose to join Liverpool, according to Romano, Liverpool will be ready for negotiations with Leverkusen and an important contract for Wirtz. So I have a question to ask you guys. We've all talked about transfer fees for Florian Wirtz and what it might entail, but has anybody seen the wages? Because honestly, I don't have a clue what type of wages to expect or what type of wages Liverpool will be offering to Florian Wirtz. Let me know if you guys have seen any numbers bandied around or heard any on other podcasts or channels or anything, because it's intriguing to me what the offer would be. Because you would imagine if you're spending the guts of £100 million upwards on a player, well, those wages are going to be pretty significant, right? They're not going to be coming in on 40 or 50 grand a week. Mark Baldwin said, not being funny, but don't think we get either, but would like both. Look, Mark, you're not the only person that I've seen who has doubt. I must admit, mate, I have my own doubts. You know my thoughts on FSG. I think that they're cheap. So for me, my tagline for this window is going to be, I'll believe it when I see it. But we've got enough top-tier journalists discussing it that I think we have to at least say we're in the mix somewhere. You've got David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, Paul Joyce, all discussing Liverpool's interest in Florian Wirtz. Then you've got the likes of Christian Falk, Florian Plettenberg, and others as well. So yeah, I understand it though. I totally do, mate. I'm not going to go in on anybody who thinks that it's unlikely, because we're used to feeling let down when these big deals come around. Sean Handley said, apparently Bayern are offering him 350 to 400k per week. Ooh, that's a lot of money. But again, understandable if you're going to put that much money in a package for a player. And if you look at the Manchester City reason for backing out, there was a report that said they believe the whole package, including wages, would be about, 300 million euro, I think they said. So if we said, for instance, that the fee was 150 million euro, then it's 30 million euro a season for 5 years on the contract. And what's that? 30 million euro a season. So turn that into pounds sterling. That's about 25 million pound. That's a lot of wage every week, isn't it? So well, hang on, 5 million quid a season on wages. A million quid. It's about 250 grand a week. I think that would be more than acceptable. £250,000 per week, but might go a bit higher than that, I would imagine, with bonuses and that. Wesley said, hey Craig, wasn't today your day off? No, mate, I was always supposed to be working today. Next day off will be Saturday. Tomorrow I'll be live as normal doing the usual stream, but then Saturday we're flying over to Liverpool, so we won't be doing any live streaming or anything on Saturday, and then we'll be back for the watch along on Sunday, and then on stage in Liverpool that night. Craig, can you please stream the show game week 38? I don't know what you mean. If you're talking about the watch along of the game, we are. The plan is we're doing it in Liverpool. We've got an area set up at the venue that we'll be doing the watch along for everybody as normal. So if you're tuning in on a match day, we'll still be able to do that. If you're talking about the on-stage show, it's something I'm always very much against doing, because like I keep saying, we talk about stuff in there that probably needs to stay in that room. So probably going to have to pass on streaming the show. Saw on Facebook, Wirtz offered 9 million after tax per year. So that's what? 20 grand a week is £1 million a year, roughly. So 9 million, 180 after tax. That sounds about right then. About 340, 350. That sounds about right, Mark, to be honest with you. Tom Goldsworthy said, all I see at Bayern is Wirtz, Musiala and Kane battling for the same space between the lines. And they may even be looking to bring in another player. Like Nico Williams has been linked with Arsenal as well. Arsenal and, Bayern Munich. We're going to be talking a little bit about him in a while. We've got a little bit on Turkey to go through tonight as well. We also have a bit on Real Madrid's interest in Alexis McAllister. And, actually, let's talk about that situation for a minute, because I want to discuss Luka Modric just for a second. I despise everything about Real Madrid, but that man is nothing but class. And he is leaving Real Madrid at the end of the Club World Cup. So I just wanted to take a little moment just to give the man his flowers for what has been an incredible career. I don't know if he heads off to Saudi or if he goes to MLS or whatever, but in Europe, he's just been phenomenal, right the way through. When he came to Spurs, he was brilliant. And then, of course, he's had 13 trophy-laden years at Real Madrid. So as much as I despise that club, Luka Modric is just a class act. And it's only right that we take a second to acknowledge what a fantastic footballer and career he's had in Europe. One of the best to do it. And the game's certainly going to be worse for him not being in it. So, again, credit to Luka Modric for his career. But this piece here said Real Madrid love Alexis McAllister, but Liverpool would demand over €100 million for the midfielder, and Real Madrid are not willing to pay that. I would say they're way off the mark with that. Like €100 million, about £85 million. I would put Alexis McAllister up there in the £100 million plus bracket. If you're talking about Declan Rice, you're talking about Enzo Fernandez, you're talking about Moise Caicedo, all being £100 million plus players, then I'd put Alexis McAllister right in that bracket personally. So, one, you ain't getting a Madrid, and two, you can't afford him because he won't have a release clause in his Liverpool deal, and he's probably worth a hell of a lot more than the, 36, 38 million we paid. Luke said, well, Craig, hope all is well. Any idea when Frimpong will be announced? It looks like they're waiting till June the 1st. Paul Joyce posted earlier on, and I think I still have it in my notes here, my man. 1 second. Where's this one from Mr. Joyce? Where is it? I don't know. Anyway, Paul Joyce said he will be announced or will be unveiled when the window officially opens on June the 1st. Now, that doesn't mean that a deal isn't agreed and signed, but remember, the player can't be registered until the window opens. So I'm sure the contracts and all that are probably signed at this point, and it is a done deal. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But yeah, we're probably looking at June 1st. Neil Thompson said, I got a feeling Frimpong will be announced on Sunday after our last game. Again, what Paul Joyce was saying is that it would be announced or unveiled after the June 1st opening of the window. But look, again, you can count Frimpong as a Liverpool player at this point. There is going to be no hiccups in that one. In fact, if I was a betting man, I'd probably say his name's already on that contract, but we don't know that for a fact. So, right, let's keep going. Let's move on to a little bit on Fofana. We talk about Fofana for a little bit. So, this is a really interesting story that's kind of developed ever since the player himself spoke about his admiration for Liverpool. But this piece here said, amid the suggestions that Barcelona will come for Luis Diaz, it has already been reported that Liverpool could target Malik Fofana, Belgian winger, obviously currently at Lyon, 20 years of age, and has previously said that he would love to come and play at Liverpool. So, I have not watched much of Lyon this season, but Malik Fofana, ladies and gents, what we saying? Is he the type of calibre that Liverpool should be looking at? Is he somebody for the future? Do you think he's the real deal? We know the player himself wants to come to Liverpool, but I'm sure he's one of many players that would love to come and play for Liverpool. Liz said, Modric is class. Real Madrid can F right off. Yeah, he is a class act. I've got nothing but admiration for Luka Modric. quality footballer and never done anything in any way arrogant or, yeah, he's just a class act all on and off the pitch. Are we still signing Kerkez? Said Blaine Williams. That's the plan, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's done, mate, because it isn't. It isn't done. Give you some updates from David Ornstein on the Kerkez situation. He said it's not done. Liverpool are his priority and he is Liverpool's top target, but they will have other options as well. The likes of Real Madrid and Manchester City also have him on their radars, but not as the top option. It's not advanced club to club yet, but clearly that can change at any point. If Liverpool or anybody else are ready to offer the sort of money Bournemouth are seeking, it is expected he moves, but that doesn't mean it's imminent. So we know Bournemouth won 45 million. We don't know where Liverpool are at. We don't know what number Liverpool are potentially thinking of putting forward. But if you see an offer going in, I think you can take it to the point that Liverpool and Bournemouth have had those discussions and maybe aren't too far away from an agreement. But to sit here and tell you it's done would be me being a liar. So do I think it gets done? Yes, I do. I do think he becomes a Liverpool player. As I said, just look at all the posts he's been liking about moving to Liverpool and stuff like that. It would be a bit of a disaster at this point if he didn't come, in my opinion. So I would say understand the concern about it, but we are very, very early in the league hasn't even finished yet, to be honest. So yeah, we're getting excited and rightly so, but I think some of these things are going to take a little bit of time. Can you see a world where Modric joins Al Nassr? I've got no idea. Can I see a world where he goes somewhere like that or the MLS? Perhaps, yeah, absolutely. It depends on whether he wants to keep playing football or not. I would imagine he probably does, but I'm sure he'd be welcome in the MLS. I'm sure he'd be welcome in the Saudi Pro League, even at the ripe old age of 39. Maybe Rodrigo is Diaz's replacement, said Felix Wong. It could be. Look, I don't know. I'm looking around same as everybody else thinking, how serious are we on Turkey? If Wirtz doesn't work out, what's the plan after that? Are we in for Rodrigo? Are we really moving for Julian Alvarez? There's a load of stuff like that excites me as a Liverpool fan, but we just have to sit tight and be patient and wait and see how it all progresses. As soon as you get the nod from Florian Wirtz around what he wants to do, then I think this situation becomes clearer. But again, I want to keep reiterating this point. I don't know what the player wants, but I do know what Bayer Leverkusen wants, and that's for him to either remain there for another year or to go outside of the Bundesliga. They do not want to sell him to Bayern Munich. And somebody said to me last night that they haven't done business together for like 21 years or something, which, again, I could totally understand. It'd be like us selling to Arsenal or Manchester City. I wouldn't want us to be doing that, even if it was a player that Liverpool didn't want. I wouldn't want us giving somebody a player that was ours to strengthen them. I'd just rather they went outside the league. So, Alan Hansen, Mark's just reminded me of this one as well. Alan Hansen will be presenting the Premier League trophy to Virgil van Dijk at Anfield on Sunday. Great that Jockey will be there. Great that his health is going in the right direction. And again, great that he can give the trophy to Virgil. Remember, Kenny gave it to Jordan Henderson. And now it's Jockey's turn this time. Can Rodrigo play left wing? I thought he was only a right wing. Any player can play anywhere. I know that sounds like a really blanket statement, but again, there's so many examples of players who've played in one position, go to a different club and switch over. Look at the Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane situation. Mane was a right winger at Southampton. He came to Liverpool and became a left winger. So look, I don't know where Rodrigo's preference would be, but I would dare to say that yes, he can play anywhere across the front three. The last time there was a transfer between Bayern and Bayer was 2004. Yeah, so as you can see, they don't want to sell to Bayern Munich. They would rather, and make the deal a lot easier, I would suggest, to come to Liverpool. Stephen said, I hope to God we're planning ahead for the AFCON this year. Can't afford a repeat of what happened last time when we lost Salah. Well, we have. His name's Jeremy Frimpong. And as I've said, Stephen, that's been reported quite a bit now that, he's been looked at as a more advanced option. And certainly going away for the AFCON, Frimpong will be a more than viable option for that right-hand side. Again, if we bring in another attacker or two in this window, we'd be covered there. So I do think, understandable that you're concerned, because I'm always concerned about AFCONs as well. But maximum 1 month that Mo would be away, I think. And again, we do have options in cover now with Frimpong. Adam said, sell Darwin, Diaz, Jota, Elliott, signed Alvarez, Wirtz, Rodrigo. Probably unrealistic, but you need new underwear. You would. I think that is unrealistic, you know, because all three of those lads that you've mentioned would want guarantees that they're coming in to get game time. And there's no way you're giving anybody guarantees, take Mohamed Salah's position from them. So, yeah, I don't think that's realistic. But you are right, we would need new underwear if it happened. Tom said, Barcola has changed agent, could be the new left winger. I don't want Bradley Barcola. Of all the PSG players that did impress me when we played over the 2 legs with them, Barcola's not one that ever stands out to me as being anything other than wasteful in his chances. Maybe others think differently on this one, but for me, I wouldn't be too excited about the prospect of Barcola. I think we could do better. And again, that could be me being delusional, but I'm just, again, giving you an honest opinion. So, we've now had over 2,000 votes, and we asked, who would you prefer, Florian Wirtz or Julian Alvarez? And it is a bit of a landslide, with 72% of the people that voted saying that they would prefer Liverpool to sign Florian Wirtz than Julian Alvarez. I think I'd agree, but I'd be like 60-40 on it in my mind. And I'd be over the moon if we signed either of them, in all honesty. I really would. Ash said, we missed a trick not signing Kvaratskhelia. He only wanted Napoli. PSG. He really wanted that move, and they put in a lot of groundwork to get it. They sold him the vision. They told him exactly where he was going to be utilised, what the plan was moving forward, and he was convinced to go there. And yeah, so I don't think we would have had a chance once PSG were in the mix, because that's where he wanted to go. And fair to say, for him, it's working out pretty nicely, right? He's in a Champions League final this season. Any news on suitors for Doak? No. There's not really been too much talk about many of our players moving away. So, yes, some on Elliott, some on Kwanzaa. Not really much talk on the future of Joe Gomez and where he could go. There was a little bit yesterday on Tyler Morton and interest in the Bundesliga clubs in him. But can't say I've seen anything new anyway, Adam, on Ben Doak. But we won't have to wait too long, because I think a lot of clubs are going to be trying to sort out any business for clubs in the Club World Cup, whether that's incomings or outgoings. I think that's going to be the preference for this first quick window. A lot of clubs trying to get either players out the door to go and play in the Club World Cup with those teams in it, or those teams trying to sign the players. Because remember, that's why this little mini window came about. Carl said, Hato would be a great show. New Joe Gomez to cover centre-back and left-back. But if we still have Joe, I would say we're all right. But I again, totally understand the versatility. Let's talk about Ryan Cherky for a second, because I'm getting a bit of a pain in my arse with Leon. The price tag seems to change on this lad every 5 minutes. They were giving him away for next to nothing in the winter window. Then it was 20 million quid. Now it's 40 million euro. At least according to L'Equipe, they say Lyon are forced to sell Ryan Cherky before the end of this month, and the current price is 40 million euro, which is about 15 million euro cheaper than it was a few days ago, reported everywhere. 25 million euro or 20 million pound was apparently the price tag, and now it's 40 million euro. So, yeah, your guess is as good as mine where he ends up. We know where he wants to come. He's, let it be known, Liverpool is his destination of choice. Spurs have been looking at him, and now that they have Champions League football, potentially have the financial power and the attractiveness to make that happen. So I would say, yeah, just keep an eye on all of the players that we're discussing, because there's going to be like a domino chain of effect here where one goes and then probably a load of deals fall into place. How do clubs qualify for the Club World Cup? So it's based off European points or something over the last 10 seasons, something like that. I don't really understand the ins and outs for the new Club World Cup. Once I heard that Liverpool weren't going to be in it, I honestly didn't pay too much attention to it. I'll say this as well. As a fan, I'm really glad we're not in it. I'm sure that the owners of the club would take the 100 million quid or so on offer. Understandable. But for me as a fan, I think it's going to be a distraction. I think it's going to lead to a knock-on effect for the clubs that are in it into next season. And money aside, genuinely, I'm glad Liverpool aren't in it, because we've seen what an exhausting season this has been for our lads. Imagine how we had to head off and play in a Club World Cup for the course of a month as well. And then the lads will have to have their holiday, and then they're going to pre-season. Everything, you'd be playing catch-up the whole season. So for me, it's a good thing. But for owners, I'm sure they'd like the money. Kev Parker said, top team, top targets, a new dynasty begins. Kev, I hope so. I really, really do, mate. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for 2, 3, 4 years of Liverpool picking up loads of trophies, mate. I'm here for it. Right, let's keep going. More news to get through. Let's talk about Harvey Elliott for a minute. So I said something to you guys 2 to 3 months ago, and I named players that I believed Liverpool were going to sell, and I got a bit of flack for it. That's okay, happens. But I said to you, Kwanzaa was a player that I believe that Arna doesn't trust, and I believe that Elliott was going to be sold. People, for different reasons, didn't agree or believe me, and now you're starting to see exactly that. Kwanzaa is available. Harvey Elliott, you heard his words after the last game as well. It does look like his future, unfortunately, because I love him as much as everyone else, could lie away from Liverpool. So this piece here from Florian Plettenberg said, a departure of Harvey Elliott is possible. There are many interesting inquiries and talks are ongoing. Liverpool would not stand in his way if a suitable offer comes in. Now, apparently, Liverpool are going to ask for about £50 million, according to some reports. Do I think Harvey Elliott is a £50 million footballer? No, not yet. I think 40 million quid is probably me. If I was a buying club looking at Elliott, I wouldn't be putting him into the £50 million bracket, but he is homegrown. That's going to count for something. He has played for the Premier League winners. He has played in the Champions League. So that does add certainly value to it. But I don't know. I would have thought 40 million quid. But if Liverpool can get 50, I'm not going to complain about that. What's this one? Right. So this just coming out of Spain. From Sport, who I believe are a Spanish publication, and Credit LFC Transfer Room for this post, said if Liverpool don't manage to sign Florian Wirtz, they will shift their attentions to another top forward of very high level, and Real Madrid's Rodrigo could be in their orbit. So there you go. My concern here is probably a similar concern that I'd say a lot of you guys have, which is I hope we don't spend too long hovering around one player only to see plan B or C go elsewhere, and if plan A falls through, we're screwed. That's what I don't want to happen this summer. So I'm hoping that Liverpool have got a pretty good grasp on how likely players are to come, and if they don't, what the backup plans are. Because nobody wants to be thought of as a backup plan, right? You don't. So you don't want to be out there publicly saying, oh yeah, X and Y are number one plan, but if X and Y doesn't work out, then you'll do. So yeah, just keep an eye on it, and we'll see what dominoes start to fall in what order. Adam, much love, my man. Thank you. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you. Elmir said, hope we land Wirtz. Are you genuinely hopeful? Do you know what, mate? I have to say I am. Now, I don't think, again, I don't want to sound like I'm telling you what's happening. I got to be really clear about that. But I would put it in the camp of definitely realistic, definitely plausible. The money's definitely there. This one I would feel really comfortable in just saying the player holds the keys to this. If he wants to go to Bayern, then I think he ends up there eventually. If he wants to go to Liverpool, then I think he ends up with us. So, yeah, either way, it's just going to be down to what him and his family decide is the best next step for his career. And I couldn't sit here and tell you I know the answer to that, because I don't. Does Bayern have the funds to buy Wirtz at Leverkusen's asking price? So do they have the funds? Probably yes. Do they want to pay that much? Absolutely not. They valued him in their initial charm offensive, let's say, in the media at about £80 million. So if their asking price is €150 million, which is about £127 million, then that's what, 45% extra on top of what they wanted to pay. But again, the selling club are in control here. So if there's a number and it's put on the table, well, Wirtz may be told Bayern can have you at this price. So if Wirtz turned around and said, I want to go to Bayern Munich, then Leverkusen will probably just go, okay, but here's the price. There is no moving on this. They pay that price or you don't go there. Let's wait and see what happens. Rusba said Bayern are a joke. Wirtz should come to Liverpool. Look, Bayern are a prestigious and storied club. You know, let's be honest about it. They're a big club as well. But the Premier League is a better league. The Premier League is the best league in the world, in my opinion. And I think if Wirtz really wants the eyes of the world on him as much, you know, he should come to the Prem. Genuinely. And if he's coming to the Prem, he might as well come and play for the Premier League winners. I think he could be the type of signing that gets us, let's say, in the next 4 years, we think Liverpool might win 3 trophies. I think this is the guy that could turn that into 6 trophies, 7 trophies. He would be a huge difference maker. I've seen former Liverpool players and some pundits almost poo-pooing the idea and saying it's not a huge, sexy signing. I think it was Jermaine Pennant that said, maybe it wasn't him. If it wasn't him, apologies. But some former Liverpool players said, it's not as exciting a signing as the likes of Isak. Yeah, it is. I would say it's more exciting than the likes of Isak because this kid is only at the start of his journey to the very, very top. And he is going to go all that way. And I would say the kindest I could be about it is if Arsenal signed Wirtz, I'd be sitting here telling you I think Arsenal are going to win the league next year. So if we sign Wirtz, I think that's a massive statement of intent about how we're viewed on the continent, the way the club's project is being sold to potential players, and how appealing we absolutely are. So, big club Bayern, but again, I think the Premier League is where it's at. Now, what I can say to you is what happens if Real Madrid come to the table. And that's my big concern here. Because if Madrid do set their eyes on him, I don't know where Wirtz's head is at there. He would have his manager, obviously, who he just played with. You do have the lure of Real Madrid and everything that comes along with that. But then you just have to look at it and think, how are they going to keep all those players happy? How are they going to keep everybody playing enough and to get to the cohesiveness that they need? I would argue Madrid don't really need too many attacking options at the minute. They need more defensive and deeper line midfield options. So, Dominic King and Lewis Steele said Michael Edwards didn't travel to Boston to get the funds approved for Wirtz despite reports from Germany. So, I don't know if they mean by that just he didn't travel over, or they're trying to say that he didn't travel over and there has been no conversation about the fee. Because as far as I'm aware, the money's been greenlit, and it's up to the player. So, I don't know what the two gents mean by that, but I'll try to find out. Right, Neil said, so say, for an argument's sake, we sell Elliott 40 million, Nunez 55, 60 million, Jota 15, 20. I think you're underselling Jota by about 20 million there, but Kwanzaa 25 to 30. Again, his price will be at least 10 million more than that. Kelleher 40 million. You can knock 10 million off that. That's 190 million potentially if they all go. Well, I'll give you what I think are the realistic prices of them and we'll try and add it up. Probably not too far away, Neil, to be honest. But so let's say Elliott 40 million. Nunez probably 50, so that's 90. Jota, I would say 35, so 125. Kelleher or Kwanzaa, I would say 35. So what's that, 160? And then Kelleher 30. See, we're still at 190 though, Neil. So, you know, I'm splitting hairs here really, haven't I? That could be, that could be a lot of money brought in. And that's why I was very clear to say that for me, yes, we will keep track of the net spend in this window. We will, like we promised. But I'm not too fussed if we end up with a smaller net spend if we're sitting here talking about Liverpool signing the likes of Wirtz, Kerkez, Frimpong, a top quality centre-back. That's what I want to see. How the numbers stack up afterwards, look, I want my club to be healthy. I want more money brought in. I want as much money as we can get for the players that Liverpool deem surplus their requirements. And obviously I want us to pay as little as possible for the ones that are coming in. So it's about looking at the whole squad for me at the end of this window and thinking, have we really improved? And it's looking like we will. Yannick said, sorry to bother, anything new on Kerkez? Just that there's been no agreement between the clubs on a fee. There's been a few different things on Kerkez today. I gave you the David Ornstein one earlier on, which happy to read back over for you just in case you're in a bit later. David Ornstein said it's not done. Liverpool are his priority and he is their top target, but they will have other options. The likes of Real Madrid and Manchester City also have Kerkez on their list, although not as the top option. It's not advanced club to club yet, but clearly that can change at any point. If Liverpool or anybody else are ready to offer the sort of money Bournemouth are seeking, it is expected he moves, but that doesn't mean it's imminent. So Manchester City are definitely in the market for a left back and a right back. Wesley is looking like potentially one of the targets at right back. Tino Livramento was another one I think they looked at right back. Left back, I couldn't tell you who Manchester City's preference is for the number one target. We know Real Madrid want the kid from Benfica. I think the former Manchester United player who's at Benfica, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And Liverpool, well, Liverpool look like it's somewhere between Kerkez, Hato and Aït-Nouri as options for them. And I think it has to be Kerkez. Kerkez is the guy. If we got Kerkez, Frimpong, a centre-back, I'm really happy if Canade stays with that back line. If Kwanzaa moves on, I wouldn't mind another one brought in, but certainly I'd be open to somebody of a lesser ilk. Wouldn't be expecting a 70, 80 million pound centre-back. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with to shore up the defence like we need to do. And if we can bring in the attacking talent as well, because we are going to have to look at the attacking end of the pitch. It's just going to be a matter of how many changes we make up there. So let's talk about Luis Diaz. You know, since we're talking about the attacking end of the pitch, let's talk a little bit about Lucho. So again, take this with a pinch of salt as it comes from Spain, but it says, talks for a renewal between Luis Diaz and Liverpool have stalled. Without a doubt, Liverpool have decided that this is the year for the sale of the Colombian, with the possibility of Barcelona signing him being high. They go on, though, to talk a little bit more about timings of this. 1 second. So there is concerns that they won't be able to register the player. So Deco and Juan Laporta have good relations with some of Diaz's camp, according to Lewis Steele and Dominic King, but they're also aware that they need to renew the contract of Lamine Yamal, so they have to be financially sensible, but Diaz fits what they want. Also, they say Liverpool are relaxed about Luis Diaz as he has 2 years remaining on his deal, and the club have not signalled any desire to sell him this summer, though Barca could test the waters. So there's a lot of uncertainty around who we're actually selling. Is it going to be... I don't like the idea of Liverpool being a club that, let's say, waits for somebody to come in for somebody and then we decide if they sell him or not. I think we should have already made our mind up if Diaz is for sale, if Elliott's for sale, if Kwanzaa is for sale, if Costas is for sale, if Kelleher is for sale. I don't like thinking... I think this is just media spin, to be honest, to say like Liverpool don't want to be looked to be kicking anybody out the door. So you'll always see the type of phraseology, something along the lines of, if the player wants to leave and search for minutes, Liverpool won't stand in their way. Jerry, how are you, my man? If we don't get Wirtz, do you think we will sign a number 9 or a false 9 type of player? I think Slot prefers... that we saw that with Diaz this season. Well, I'm starting to think that way, Jerry, yes. You know, you're not going to go out there and spend the type of money on Florian Wirtz and then try to bring in a £100 million striker. That's just not really us. I'd be amazed if that was the case. So, yeah, I do think that this may be a signal that Liverpool are looking at a more fluid front line, potentially with a false 9, as you've mentioned. Maybe with more options of players as well to vary up the types of attack that we have. But let's say it doesn't work out with Wirtz. Then I'm kind of stumped because is Ryan Cherky up to the level? Now, he's a really good player, but there's no denying there's a drop-off. If you're going from Florian Wirtz to Ryan Cherky, there's a drop-off. So does that affect the rest of the plan? If you bring in Cherky, then do you go for a higher caliber centre forward. And if that's the case, then isn't that kind of going against the plan that we just thought up a minute ago? So I'm really confused. I'm really intrigued by it all, but I'm also really nervous to see which one gets over the line first. But I think you're on the money, Jerry. It certainly looks like a false nine is being looked at as an option. We also brought in a lot of money last summer. Oh, look, don't think for 1 second, Archie, that we have any issues around money. We don't. We have plenty of wiggle room. Liverpool, I feel comfortable saying Liverpool could spend 250, 300 million quid net spend and not be in trouble with PSO or FFP or any of that stuff. So, yeah, money isn't going to be the problem. Getting it out of John's wallet over the years may have been the problem, but it certainly doesn't look like we're under any constraints like other clubs may be. I swear to God, though, I'm going to lose my mind if Real Madrid get Wirtz. I'm actually going to go insane. I can cope with anybody else. I could cope with him going to Bayern Munich, or I could cope with him staying at Leverkusen. If Real Madrid come in and shithouse one more player for under our noses, I swear to God I'm going to cry. Yeah, I couldn't cope with that. I'm sick to death of Real Madrid. I wish they would just disappear. So hopefully the Wirtz situation doesn't involve a serious Madrid conversation. Wesley said, sure, sell Diaz to Barca and for them to register him, give us Yamal. I don't know what to expect with Diaz. You know, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe not even a couple of weeks ago, we were all here having a conversation about Diaz, talking about how much he loved it at Liverpool, how, you know, he feels a privilege to play for the club, how he's been very settled here since day one. So I don't know, man. I don't. But then you go back to the story that Sam Maguire put out about last summer when Alvarez was going to Atleti, and there was talk that Liverpool were trying to sell him to Manchester City and buy Julian Alvarez off City at that point. So Diaz's future has been up in the air for at least 2 seasons now. Jay Muse, thank you. So wishing you safe travels to Merseyside and fun live shows. You will be away Friday, Saturday. Thank you, my man. Appreciate you. We're travelling over to Liverpool on Saturday evening. I think our flight leaves Dublin Airport about 4 o'clock, something like that. So yeah, excited about that. We're staying in Wigan, as I mentioned a few times, because we couldn't get any accommodation anywhere near Liverpool for that weekend. So we're driving up from Wigan for the show on Sunday, and then we are pretty much not going to sleep Sunday because we're in the airport that early to go back Monday morning to Dublin, and then flying back over on Wednesday. So yeah, really excited. And again, last show, if anybody does want to come and see us, you can get your tickets to either of our live shows in Liverpool. One on Sunday, one next Wednesday, both of them with that QR code on the screen. And we also have a musical act, and I can actually tell you who the musical act is now as well, because I got the name. Paul Dunbar is going to be the gentleman with the guitar. You may have seen him in and around Anfield at some of the events and that as well. He will be providing the music for us on the night, so looking forward to that. Paul's going to do a 45-minute set each night for us as well before I come on stage, so I want you guys hyped by the time we come on. My fat ass will be waddling on with the Premier League trophy as well. And as promised, we're bringing over some mini trophies to give away as prizes for the best and creative Premier League trophy lift. So yeah, look, we're going to have so much fun on Sunday, and I hope you guys can come along and join us. Right. Big Bond, how are we? First name James, by any chance? Or have you been a bold boy and had to pay a big bond to get out? Do you think if we need a goal late in a game, Slot puts Frimpong on and plays him right wing and Salah central with Wirtz behind? Absolutely possible. Absolutely. That is what I've talked about with Frimpong since day one. That I would imagine if we do need that bit of a difference and we want to even push further up the pitch right-hand side, that either he puts him on and almost goes to a back three, so Bradley comes off, let's say, Frimpong goes on but pushes further forward. And look, we've all had these conversations about the possibility of Mo going central at some point, and hopefully he does. But I don't know it to be a fact, but what you said is entirely possible. Right, Elmir said, Craig, do you rate Diaz as world class? I mean, we do need a better end product, not just work rate. I'm not 100% convinced. What's your thoughts? Is he world class? No, not for me. Is he very, very good? Yes. Am I relaxed about him being here? Yeah. Whatever happens with Lucho, I'm not going to lose much sleep over Elmir. I kind of think I agree with you entirely. And I would dare to say that most Liverpool fans are probably in that category. More than happy to have him at the club. Like I said to you, he really impressed me with his mental strength and everything when his dad was in that situation where he was kidnapped and Diaz was still turning out and playing. That was an incredible show of mental strength from him. But yeah, I won't lose any sleep if he moves on. It certainly wouldn't be a position that I think we couldn't resolve. You look at Anthony Gordon as an example. I know a lot of people aren't sold on Anthony Gordon, by the way, but I think he could be a very good addition if he comes in. Reese said, got tickets for Sunday. What can I expect? Fun, pretty much. You can expect it to be like a town hall, Reese. It's going to be music for 45 minutes first, getting everyone singing along and ready to go. Then we're coming on with the Premier League trophy, and we're going to just have a bit of a town hall. I'll be chatting back and forth with everybody in the audience. Connor will be joining me on stage for a bit as well. And we'll probably do about 90 minutes of just best moments of the season, bit of fun with the trophy lift. I've got some other bits and pieces that I'll pull out of the bag on the night for a laugh as well. And yeah, just a fun, relaxed night. And I'm hoping a room full of drunk, messy people. You know, I want a rowdy crowd. I love a rowdy crowd when we do these shows. Nothing worse to me than coming in and it being all quiety quiet. I want people shouting out. I want people singing along. I want people letting me know their thoughts. And that's what you can expect. Fun. And thank you for getting the tickets, my man. I can't wait to come and say hello. Playing for Real Madrid, collapse United style. Who? I don't know what that means. Declan. Praying for Real Madrid collapse. United. Oh, I read your sentence wrong. Yeah, sorry. No, that won't happen. That league is set up, mate, for them in Barcelona to pretty much do well. They've got more resources than the other clubs. And look, I would just love to see them booted out of the Champions League or something because of the whole stuff around the Super League that they're still banging on about. Craig, will you be trying a wig and kebab? I've no idea, Dave. I've no idea, bro. Haven't thought that strongly about it yet. I'll just probably open up the Uber Eats app, see what's available in Wigan when we get there. Right, so Jay Muse has a request. He said, Craig never gets his pizza when he came to Liverpool. Can somebody please get him a pie? I don't need the whole pie, mate. I just need a slice at the show. Yeah, I definitely need to get me a slice of pizza this time. Mark Houghton said, Everton talked with IKEA for sponsorship. The trophy cabinet will remain flat packed. Just keep it up there, you know. Keep the receipt, though, just to make sure. When was the last time a Spanish team won La Liga and not be one of the top three? It's got to be Valencia, right? Has to be Valencia under Rafael Benitez. I know Atleti have won it, but I think you're including them in the top three. So yeah, for me, I think it's Valencia, if my memory's right. Right, let's get back to the news. Right, I want to make sure I get through all of these because I'm forever finishing streams and realising that I've missed one part of my notes. So, Caught Offside have said that Arsenal and Liverpool have reportedly scheduled talks next week over a potential deal to sign Julian Alvarez from Atletico Madrid. And on this, they want Darwin Núñez. And it certainly looks like Darwin Núñez is open to the idea of going to Atletico Madrid. So it'll be interesting to see if Liverpool are able to use Darwin maybe as a negotiating tool. Because remember the time we lost out on, what's his face, when we had Luis Suarez and Barcelona wanted him and Alexis Sanchez ended up going to Arsenal when somehow Liverpool fucked up all that negotiation power. I hope we don't see a repeat of this. I very much hope that if they want Atleti, if Atleti want Darwin and we want Alvarez, that we don't see Alvarez ended up with an Arsenal jersey because that would hurt. Marcus said, I'm probably in the minority, but for me, Diaz just don't edge it to be a starting player, but a very good squad player. Maybe I'm used to having Sadio Mane on the left. Well, let's ask. Let's ask that. I'm going to ask, do people think he should be sold? So let's ask that question. So, should Liverpool sell Luis Diaz this summer? Yes or no? And we'll check back in, see what people think. The asking price, by the way, certainly seems one that would soften the blow for me. So Liverpool are apparently asking about 70 million euro for Luis Diaz. And at that number, I certainly wouldn't be too sad if he was to depart. A Wigan kebab is a pie and a barm cake or bread roll. Oh, hello. Yeah, that sounds a bit of me, that does, Dave, to be honest with you. I've often had steak and kidney pie here at home on a bit of bread. Not even joking. Growing up, especially when there wasn't much money around, you know. Yeah, so sign me up for that, Dave. That does sound like a bit of me. Nathan said, if you got a good offer, I'd sell Diaz. So yeah, nice. Local dish is a pie bar, also known as a Wigan kebab, consisting of a butter bread roll, sandwich and meat pie inside. Yeah, that's sign me up for a bit of that, lads. That's definitely up my street. Calories with more calories. Yes, please. So, Rodrigo, what are we thinking? What happens? Where does he end up? Because it definitely looks as if he's on his way out of Real Madrid. I'm trying to think who else could afford to bring him in around Europe. Not seeing Bayern's name mentioned with him. PSG, I don't think, have space for an attacker. So all I can really think of is the Premier League. I don't think there's enough money or interest in Serie A for him to be tempted to go there. Surely to God he's not going to go over to play in Saudi at this point of his career. That would be absolute madness. Although we have seen players move over there, like Gabriel Vega, who went from Celta Vigo over to Saudi, and now it looks like he could be moving back to Europe, as there's been some reports of, I think, Italian clubs for him. So maybe he does that. Maybe he goes to get away from Madrid for a year or two, gets a few bob and comes back over. But yeah, for me, I would certainly not like to see him go to the Saudi Pro League, because I think he's too good. Colin said, Gordon, no thanks, he's another Curtis. Honestly, I'd take Anthony Gordon tomorrow. I would. And I know I'm probably in the minority on that, but I look at these things and I think about it in a couple of ways. One, he wants to play for Liverpool Football Club. He's a Liverpool Football Club fan. He's homegrown. He's still not fulfilled his full potential yet. These are the reasons why I'd look at the likes of an Anthony Gordon and think, right, if you sold Diaz, I'd be more than happy to bring him in. But I also understand the reasons that people wouldn't want Anthony Gordon. Too lightweight, goes to ground too easily. I get it. But for me, I've always been very receptive to the idea of Liverpool signing Anthony Gordon, because I want people who would run through a brick wall for that shirt. I want people who would give everything to be successful in the shirt, and I definitely would say that Anthony Gordon would fit into that category. And look, if you said to me right now, would you swap Luis Diaz for Anthony Gordon? You know, because theoretically that's what we're going to do in this scenario. Yeah, I would. And I would be, actually, there could be a nice interesting poll to ask afterwards. Would you swap Diaz for Anthony Gordon right now? Be interesting to see what people think of that, because I would. You got to look into the age profile of it as well. He'd be, what, I think he's 4-5 years the junior of Luis Diaz. Sean Handley said, I would take Gordon, very direct, which suits our style. Sam Clark said, I'd take Gordon as well. Leon Sampson said, Gordon is a quality player and loves the club. I'd love him at Liverpool. Yep, same reasons as me. I love the fact that we are looking for more directness now, because I think our front line definitely needs a bit more pace to it. That's one thing that at times this season has really frustrated me, is the lack of pace in that Liverpool attack. I mean, we had pace with Darwin, but if Diogo Jota had pace, he would be absolutely unstoppable, in my opinion. But he does lack that pace, and of course, a bit of that aerial threat as well. Mohamed Salah, not as fast as he once was. On the other side, Diaz has some pace, but I wouldn't call him or Gakpo lightning quick. Michael said, Craig, hope everyone's well in the chat. Can't wait for the weekend and next week. Yeah, it's just setting up to be an incredible weekend for the city of Liverpool. And whatever you guys are doing, wherever you're going to be, I hope you all have a blast. I really do. Kev Parker said, it does help that Gordon supports Liverpool. And as you say, Craig, he'd run through a brick wall for us. Homegrown is a bonus. He still has potential. He's still young. And Kev, we haven't even spoken about the boiling the piss of the Everton fans yet either. You know, imagine this, right? So we unveil Anthony Gordon and he's having his press conference and he's been asked, doing his first interview at LFC TV, and he's asked why Liverpool, and then says, I've always wanted to play for this club. It's been my dream to come to this club. Since I started playing football, I've dreamt about wearing that red shirt and playing for Liverpool. Oh, Michael, you could smell the fume straight away. Tobias, how are you, Tobias? Said, I'd love a straight swap with Newcastle, Nunez for Gordon. I think you'd have more likelihood of us moving on Elliott or Kwanzaa to Newcastle than Diaz. I think Diaz probably looks at it and says, I'm not sure what he feels about Saudi, to be honest. I have no idea if Saudi would appeal to him, but I certainly feel like if he was to leave Liverpool, it's probably going to be for mega money to go to Saudi Pro League or to go to Barcelona if they can, put their cards on the table and he gets a move that his, family has spoken about him being open for his entire life. Right, ladies and gents, if I can ask and interrupt for one quick second, a small favour. If you can, do drop a like on the stream for me. And also, if you haven't checked out the Anfield Agenda Clips channel, please do. It is growing nicely. As we've mentioned, we'd love to get it to 100,000 subscribers so we can get a silver play button for it. If you haven't subscribed to the Clips channel, please do just take a second, go across and hit that subscribe button. It would make a huge difference and much appreciated. Right, let's keep going. Let's drop into the chat and see who everybody is over here. Triller X said, we're kind of linked to everyone. It's madness. Yeah, but it's good, isn't it? It's certainly way better, mate, than the vibes we were getting in January and last summer when they were two of the most frustrating transfer windows. Like, even on the last day when we thought we were tracking Alan Varela and a plane over to Porto, that came to nothing. They were heartbreaking windows, man. They were so frustrating. Done. Thank you, FPL. Tom Red, appreciate you, mate. Really do. Right, Kyle said, my dad is Leeds mad. My dad is Leeds and mad to see Kelleher, Chimikas go to them, and says congrats on the league as well. He's still celebrating himself. Well, tell Kyle Cannon to keep an eye out on Saturday because I recorded with Joe Wayman. Joe Wayman, Leeds United fan. That video's coming out on Saturday. We recorded that together yesterday. And we do discuss the Kelleher and Costa stuff, and he's more than up for it as well as a Leeds fan. So do say hi to your dad for me, and yeah, he should be celebrating. He's every right to. That's the fourth time, by the way, that Liverpool have won the top division of English football and Leeds United have won the division above it. Mad stat that's happened 4 times. Have I got my framed shirt yet? Have I got rid of my framed shirt yet? Number 66 one. It's still here, but it's leaving the living room. I'm waiting to pick a framed shirt up from the framers, and that will replace 66 on the wall. But I think my daughter wants to take 66 and put it up in her room. As long as I don't have to look at it, I'm all good, Dave. Oh, you meant Nunez for Gordon to buy. Sorry, mate. Sorry, bro. That was on me. I read your message wrong. I don't think they need him if they're going to keep Isak, in all honesty. They were linked with Darwin Nunez before we signed him. Actually, ironically, they were linked with Hugo Ekitike and Darwin Nunez in the past Newcastle. So I think they're probably happy how that worked out, though, and the fact that they've got Isak in there. Apologies again, though, on that one, Tobias. That's my fault, my man. Right. It would hurt to see Queevy and Chimikas get relegated to Jasper. I don't think Leeds are going to go down, I think with the mixture of the 49ers and the little bit of a hookup at Red Bull, I think Leeds are going to be well placed to stay up. I think they're going to break that record of the last couple of seasons, 3 teams coming up and going back down. I think Leeds will stay up, Especially if they can get rid of Melier, who has been all kinds of awful, and Kelleher will be a big upgrade there. Any updates on Ray and Cherky? Said Johnny Romero. The only one I've seen today, Johnny, was this one from L'Equipe. And it was that Lyon are being forced to sell Cherky this summer. They want to sell him, or they need to sell him before the end of this month, and that the current price is €40 million. Other than that, mate, I can tell you that Liverpool are in the mix. I don't know how serious we are. Spurs, very much interested in him, and he would more than come and play for Liverpool. I'd be more than happy to. But other than that, mate, I don't know where our preference lies with Cherky. It's been a player who's been linked with us for a year, and every time I speak to somebody about it, I get different reactions. Some people think, yeah, there's some interest there. Others think that our name is just being used to try and drum up interest in him. I don't know, is the honest answer for me. DGB said glad Leeds are coming up. So am I. You know, if nothing else, it's more banter against United as well, because, you know, they don't get on. So we've got another team up now that dislike United like we do. I've been enjoying, though, the Arsenal fans over the last few days, and some of them still trying to make out like they've had a better season than Spurs. They haven't. And I don't understand this argument even. I don't know how any Arsenal fan can genuinely look at this season and think they've had a better season than Spurs. No doubt they've done better to get to the semis of the Champions League, which is great. They've done well to come second in the Prem again. And all of these things are in themselves somewhat good, but they ain't a trophy. There's nothing to celebrate. There's nothing for the fans to go out there and brag about. You know, finishing second 3 years in a row is, well, frustrating, but certainly not worth celebrating. So for me, it's pretty clear. 100%. Hey Craig, where are you coming on? Born and Red. When am I coming on? Oh, Asim. Just email us. Simple as that, my man. Like I've said, just get in contact. We've already been in contact, Asim. But yeah, just crazy busy these days, mate. Honestly, barely have time to see the family these days. Things are going that busy. Imagine United went down and Leeds stayed up. Yeah, did you see Curry's? As in Curry's, the electrical store were even bantering United today. They did an image of Jim Radcliffe holding a ninja indoor-outdoor barbecue saying, you know, remember refunds are possible or something like that on the barbecues. You've got fucking Curry's taking the piss out of United now. It's brilliant. Benjamin, Bayern legends are going nuts at Wirtz. Thoughts? I need more context than that. Yeah, I don't know, Benjamin. A bit more context on it would be great, but are you saying that they're going nuts at Wirtz, feeling like it shouldn't be a tough decision for him, or he should be coming out publicly saying he wants Bayern? I really don't know. But either way, any club that comes across that entitled about anything, I want them taken down a peg or two. So, yeah, if that's the narrative from the Bayern legends, it speaks more to the arrogance of them rather than anything else. Right, where are we on the poll? Oh, lads. Oh, my days, this one's close. Oh, do keep voting, because 1% is the difference in this one. Should Liverpool sell Diaz this summer? Yes or no? And there's only 1% in it. This one is so close. Why sell Diaz? I don't know the answer to why, except that it's been an open topic for the last year about his future. You know, the contract negotiations seem to have stalled at this minute. There doesn't look like to be a breakthrough there. You keep hearing reports that Liverpool are relaxed about it because he has 2 years to go on his deal, which is probably true. And he's also on really realistic wages for us. So I just feel with his age profile now, 28, heading for 29, if an offer came in that was one he wanted as well, and Liverpool got decent money from it, I wouldn't be against it. You know, I don't want to kick him out the door because I like Luis Diaz, and I'm comfortable either way if he stays or if he goes. Neil said, I'm with you, Craig. I hate reading and hearing the name. Diaz has had an up and down season. At 27, it's a consolidation to look at someone else. Or it's a consideration, to look at somebody else. This has been his best season in a Liverpool shirt numerically, and we still wouldn't be putting him in the conversation for anywhere near our player of the season. I think that says a lot as well. Because if Mohamed Salah had had the season Diaz has had, we'd be saying he's done. So, some context to it as well. If we're talking, give us your list for player of the season this year, I'm guessing your list will fall somewhere between Salah, Van Dijk, Maka, Gravenberch. Somewhere around that. I don't think many people would be pushing Luis Diaz's name forward as a potential player of the season for us. Diaz is on 55k a week. He's not. He is on a low wage, but I think it's at least 10 grand more than that. To my understanding, he's on about 10 grand more than that. And I remember having this conversation with somebody whose name I shall not mention. And both of us felt that the reports of his wage were a little bit lower than it really is. But still, he's been underpaid. I feel comfortable in saying that one. If Diaz goes, I want a good replacement. Well, that's why I'm going to ask you the next question of Anthony Gordon. But I want to just see how this poll goes because, as I mentioned, it's so close. So once we get to 2,000 votes on the Luis Diaz thing, we'll call it. But right now, there's 2% in it, but 1% would make it even, if you get me. It's 51-49. So, yeah, interesting one to see. Will it change in the last 500 votes or so? Do let me know. Kevin said, I volunteer to drive Darwin to the airport. I just give him a tent and tell him to sleep there, and we'll let him know where his departure gate is when the time comes. I'm so ready to move on past him, lads. I really am. I still can't believe the amount of people who talk about Liverpool mistreating them. Like, genuinely, this modern trend of people being fans of a player over a club or putting a player ahead of a club baffles me. The amount of people I've seen in shitty comments and all saying Liverpool have mistreated Diaz. Or that Nunes, or Nunes coming out and saying that, the club aren't playing him because of money's no big deal. Yeah, it is. You're accusing the club of underhanded tactics and you're lying. And some people are still defending that. I don't get it. Whatever about you wanting to get behind him as a player and hoping he does well on the pitch and singing his name right till the end. Hey, no problem with that. But to start again this bullshit narrative of the club are doing something wrong to him, that's really just not a fair reflection of the situation at all. Who would you go for between Sesko or Gyökeres? 100% Sesko. Yeah, absolutely Sesko. I don't ever think you're going to see our name in the mix for Gyökeres, despite the odd report here or there that might say it. I'm just not there. He's not. Michael Edwards would not pull the trigger on a deal for Gyökeres because, again, you can ask any journalist you'd like on this and the answer has always been the same. He hasn't played at a high enough level. I know that sounds crazy, right? Because he's putting up a ridiculous amount of goals for Sporting and they are a ridiculous amount of goals, but it's in the Portuguese league. It's not in one of the big 5 leagues. It's not in La Liga. It's not in the Prem. It's not in the Bundesliga. It's not in Serie A. It's not even in French Ligue 1. It is in a league that we have a player currently who was scoring a bag load of goals there and it didn't work out over here. Add into that his age, and I just think we're just not talking about the Liverpool type of signing. Your opinion on Mohamed Amora from Wolfsburg? Oh, mate, I'll be honest and say I have no idea. No idea, mate. Sorry. Yeah, I couldn't even name. I wouldn't have even known that man existed until he put his name up. I should probably lie to you and sit here and go, oh, he's okay, yeah. I don't know who he is, mate. In all honesty, sorry. I wish I could be more helpful, but hey, I always told you I'd be honest. David said, Craig and buzzing that Gravenberch had a good season in the number 6 role. I asked you that question your first show in Liverpool. I think you did. I think I remember that. To be fair, I think I remember that, David. He's had an incredible season. And you see that he opened up a new pitch, a new all-weather pitch. as part of the Cruyff Foundation or something like that in Liverpool, which was great to see as well. But yeah, look, Ryan Gravenberch's been incredible, and full credit to him and Arne Slot. Jurgen didn't utilise him as much as maybe he and we all would have liked, but Arne came in and immediately seen the position that he wanted this guy playing in, and Ryan's been brilliant, and we've been lucky. He's been able to stay injury free for the season, which has definitely helped us. Who would be your choice to replace Diaz if he leaves? Anthony Gordon. Yeah, 100%. Because it ticks the boxes for the homegrown quota. He's a Liverpool fan, Premier League tested, but not really reached his peak yet. And it'll give us a bit more directness and pace as well, and competition for Cody Gakpo. So without a doubt, I would be looking at it. Look, if you wanted to be fancy about it, you could look at the likes of a Rodrigo. You could look at a Nico Williams. But for me, on that left-hand side, Anthony Gordon. I am really intrigued, though, to see where Brian Mbeumo ends up this summer, because Christian Norgard, the Brentford captain, speaking a few weeks back, said he expects him to leave this summer. But where to? They signed him, I think, from a League Two side in France when they brought him in. Where does he end up? Genuinely. I could see him at Liverpool, but not if we're talking about some of the players that we've been linked to it. And where else does he go? United won't have the money to sign him, especially not after getting any European football. Arsenal, well, they don't need somebody in that position. Manchester City, can't see that one happening. But he is a really good player, and somebody will get a fantastic, consistent footballer for a reasonable fee. Right. 200 votes to go, just 200 to go, and also we're only 130 likes short of hitting 1,000, so if you can take a second, hit that like button, please do. Remember, we'll have one more live stream tomorrow night, and then we won't be live again until the watch along on Sunday. And if that doesn't work out for technical reasons or something, then it'll be Monday night we'll be back on. But we're going to be travelling Saturday and in Liverpool and Wigan, so we won't be doing any live stuff on Saturday. Is Gakpo no option to replace Lucho? He is, but we need two. Like I've said, we've got two now, and it's great. Gakpo, Diaz, two great options. But if Diaz moves on, I think we do need to bring in another one. We should always be looking to have two people in every position, especially with the front line, which can be so interchangeable. Defensively, you want some solidity, so I think you want a settled back four. Midfield, probably make the same argument, but up top, there's definitely room for mixing it up, and a couple of options is no harm, especially when you're playing 2 games a week. David said, as I said, I'm at my daughter's wedding on Saturday in the Caribbean, but we'll get a ticket for the Cork show and fly in from Italy. Well, David, let me know, man. Honestly, just email me and I'll sort that ticket out for you. It's the very least I can do. If you're coming across from Italy, it'd be our pleasure, my man. Let me know. We'll make sure we can meet up with you early and have a drink or something if you'd like. But definitely let me know and I will send you a ticket for the Cork show on me, my man. And as many as you need, whoever. If you're coming in your own, if you're coming in with people, let me know and I'll send them tickets to you as a thank you, man, for coming across. We've had people come in from America, Australia, Italy, New Zealand, Norway, Poland to come and see us at some of the shows, man. It's blown me away to chat with people and to hear someone say, yeah, I'm coming in from Australia. Like, wow, man, that means more than you'll ever know. I don't deserve the support you guys give me, but my God, I appreciate it so much. And I think your daughter's wedding, David, is a good reason to not come to a show, man. I think I can't even be angry about that one. Do Liverpool still need a recognised DM, do you think? You hear, Harvey? That's just because he hears a dog outside and he wants to get out. You hear him? That's just because he hears a dog outside and he wants to get out. He swear he's being killed if you listen to him. It's mad. Anyone who was a Frenchie or your Frenchie's like that as well, because our dog's a lunatic. If he's outside, he wants to come back in, he'll just jump up and start hammering his head against the back door as well. He's a lunatic. And Mbeumo as a backup would be great. In 2 years, could replace him, said Itachi. Right, so we're 50 votes away from the end of this Liverpool Diaz one. Oh, it's close. Still, it's gone a little bit wider. Ooh, it's closed back in. 40 votes to go. It's opened back out a bit. This is way closer than I thought this was going to be. 30 to go. Wow. My two Frenchies are nuts. Must be a Frenchie thing. Oh, some of the noises they make. Honestly. Like, if he sees another dog, if you're out on a walk with him and he sees another dog across the road, we've had people come out of shops because he's been making that much noise thinking he's been murdered. And all he wants to do is go over and say hello to another dog. Right, we've got to 2,000 votes. Thank you all. So, we said, should Liverpool sell Luis Diaz this summer? 52% said no. And 48% said yes. That's nuts. That is nuts. Now, second question. Can I show us the dog? I can't on this one, man. If I brought Harvey in the mood he's in right now, all my monitors and all would be smashed because he'd be jumping all over the table. Right. So, you guys want Lucho to stay? Nice. Now, next question. If he does leave... Oh, actually, no, let me ask it this way. Okay. Okay. Right, so pick one. Anthony Gordon or Luis Diaz. Pick one of those two if you had to have one at Liverpool. So do you stick with Diaz or would you swap him for an Anthony Gordon? And by swap him, I don't mean a direct swap with Newcastle. I mean sell Diaz, bring in Gordon. Okay, let me move that back around. Cool. Lone Raven said, sorry, say again, but we need to look at Amora. He's more goals and assists than Sesko, and he's cheap as well. Well, if he's doing the numbers that you've mentioned in a league that we certainly know all about, I would be very surprised if Michael Edwards hasn't at least run the rule over him, Lone Raven. You know, that's right up the type of street for Liverpool. You know, maybe a player going under the radar, putting up numbers that aren't maybe being noticed, or a player who isn't as sexy as flashy publicly. That's the type of deal that Liverpool in the past have certainly looked at. So yeah, if the numbers stack up like you've mentioned, I would have no doubt that Liverpool would have a little look-see. Mark, I did that DM thing. I did that a minute ago. Do Liverpool still need a recognised DM? I just didn't answer it, but I did read it out. So, do we need a recognised DM? I would say we need somebody to come in and compete with Ryan Gravenberch because, you know, we got lucky this season that he didn't have an injury. Do I think he was overplayed? Yep. But, as I've always said, I'm more than open for that player being Stefan Bajcetic. We just need to hear from the club's perspective if Stefan Bajcetic is going to be that guy or not. But certainly far less links to the likes of a DM coming in. Gee, do you know what? I actually only forgot that Arsenal is supposed to be signing Zubimendi as well. I completely forgot about that. That one slipped my mind. Does Harvey hate broccoli? No, there's no food Harvey doesn't eat, mate. He just put that in front of him, it's gone. He inhales it.
Harvey does eat broccoli 100%.
My wife said he does, so she must be feeding him broccoli. There you go. My wife eats broccoli. There you go. See, I told you, broccoli's the devil's food. Nobody should be eating broccoli.
That's why gyms never eat broccoli.
Yeah, that's why gyms think. It's nothing to do with all the fucking protein farts and stuff like that. Where are we at? Oh, 7 likes to go, folks. 7 to go. Next poll, Isak or Alvarez. If both were possible options, we have the money. I think we've done that one before, Itachi. We definitely did. Earlier on tonight, we did Alvarez or Wirtz, and Wirtz won that one hands down. But I'm almost certain we have done Isak or Alvarez. But I just don't, unless Newcastle don't get Champions League football. And it is really interesting this weekend. I think Sky are showing two games. They're showing our game, obviously, because they have to show the Premier League champions getting the trophy. And the other game they're showing, I believe, is Chelsea and Nottingham Forest. But it's going to be a very interesting weekend because we know two clubs are missing out in the Champions League. Two places, maybe one realistic place up for grabs. And I'm very intrigued to see what happens. I'm going to make a prediction that it will be Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Villa. That's my guess for the Champions League places. I think Villa go to Old Trafford and win. And I do think that Forest will get either a draw or beat Chelsea, which would see Villa leapfrog them. So it's going to be really interesting to see who misses out on Champions League football. I think City have done enough now that they'll be safe. So for me, it's coming down to Villa, Chelsea, and Forest to see who gets the place. Bayern president meeting Wirtz seems like a desperate move to me. I would imagine if he's met with Wirtz, that Leverkusen wouldn't be very happy about that. Look, again, Adam, I don't know. I don't follow much on the Bayern side of this, but if they've met with him or he's met with him, I would. If I'm Leverkusen, that's going to cause ructions. Right, a meeting between Bayern and Florian Wirtz is planned for this week. Wirtz won't be at whatever the fuck that's called, Saboner Straße, but will be away from the cameras and meet Uli Hoeneß personally. Hoeneß has taken matters into his own hands and is pushing. Bayern want to finalise the agreement with the player before Liverpool. I would imagine if I'm Bayer Leverkusen reading that, straight away a report goes in to the Bundesliga about tapping up 100%. They have no right to be meeting with him like that. They can talk with his agent all they want, but if you're going to fly in and meet with the player, you're going to have to get some permission from the club to do that. Is Endo going to stay or by Cecic? Stefan is staying at least till pre-season and the manager has a look at him. With Endo, I really don't know what's going on. I think if Endo wants to stay, I think Arne will be happy to have him in and around. If Endo wants to go in search of more minutes, I think Arne would probably facilitate that as well. Look, if Endo's happy to stay in the role he's in the club, I think Liverpool would love to have him stay. You know, he's the closer. He comes on, does the James Milner role. So, yeah, unsure on his future. It might come down to maybe an offer to go back to the Bundesliga or something like that appeals to him. What do you think about Roy Keane's comments? I don't. What do I think? I don't think he'd have made the same comments if United had won the league. You know the way we spoke about Arsene Wenger coming out about the Europa League spot because it was two of his old rivals that were playing for the spot in Spurs and United. I kind of feel the same way about this Keane statement. I don't like that we've taken these last 3 games off pretty much and not won any of them. You know, that's bugged me. But I'm a Liverpool fan. I think I have a right to speak about that. Liverpool have won the league. And Roy Keane's opinion is just that at this point. An opinion that doesn't really matter. There is somewhat of a point in there somewhere. Like, you know, at what point do you look at the places below you in the league and what matters there? So as an example, what really wound me up, Declan, was I hated that we lost to Chelsea because it gave them a route back into the Champions League or a potential route back in. And that annoyed me more than the fact that, let's say, Liverpool just lost the game of football after winning the Premier League, because I wanted to bury Chelsea and make sure they weren't in the Champions League next year. But Roy Keane's opinion on it, I mean, does he ever say anything positive about football, really? To be honest, most of his takes are, he's like me, he moans a lot. So expect nothing less. But ultimately, he should have more concerns on what's going on at Old Trafford at this moment in time. So what's this second one here? Okay, so this coming from Sport in Spain said, Liverpool have presented an astronomical offer to Florian Wirtz. It's certainly the highest offer the player has on the table. Everything pointed that he was going to Bayern, but LFC have made him doubt. If they sign him, they will sell Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez, reports this piece from Sport in Spain. I don't know, I'm a little bit dubious about that. About Liverpool putting a financial package that blows everybody else out of the water. Because we know Bayern are no slouches when it comes to paying wages. Just look at the deals that they've got done for Jamal Musiala, for Joshua Kimmich, and for Alphonso Davies, and in the past few months. Pretty high numbers involved there. So I would say take that with a pinch of salt. Some of these reports I get, okay, this is going to be a kind of big accusation to make, so hear me out. I feel like some of these reports that we're seeing on the continent, not around the English journalists, I'm not including them in this, but some of them are almost trying to build up our hopes and hope that they smash and crush those hopes. Does anybody else get that feeling? You know, a lot of people like almost talking Liverpool up a lot, but in the back of their minds thinking it isn't going to happen, and then they're going to see the crash from Liverpool fans. I feel like this is people wanting to take us Liverpool fans down a peg or two a little bit as well. Maybe I'm being too much of a cynical old man with that, but that's how I feel about it. And that type of report there is the very type of one I'm talking about. Liverpool have an astronomical offer on the table. It's certainly the highest offer the player has. Kind of making out like if he doesn't come to Liverpool now, we'll be crushed and it will look like we'd look foolish or something. That's my take on it anyway. Right, where are we at? Wow. So, we asked you guys, pick one, Anthony Gordon, Luis Diaz, and with 1,000 votes gone and we've about 10 minutes left on tonight's stream, it is a landslide to Luis Diaz. Wow. That's really interesting. I would take Anthony Gordon over Luis Diaz personally, but you guys are certainly within your rights to have your say. And yeah, at the moment, it's very much in favour of keeping Luis Diaz over Anthony Gordon. Wow. Look, I say wow, but again, in the next breath, I'll tell you that I'm happy with Diaz as well. I just would prefer if we were to change there, if he was... I think Gordon would be an upgrade, in my opinion. Drake Dillian said, no one likes seeing Liverpool successful and it's beautiful to see how bitter everybody was when we were on top. Gordon is a diver being kept out of team by Barnes. Look, Harvey Barnes has had a brilliant end to the season, no doubt about it. But I think, honestly, a lot of people are sleeping on the quality of Anthony Gordon. But again, totally appreciate and respect all of your opinions on it. We're all entitled to look at this and think about it in different ways. And I'm certainly not here to say I'm right and you're wrong. This is a game of opinions, and it's why I enjoy interacting with you guys, because sometimes I'm surprised in a good way, sometimes I'm surprised in a bad way, but you always surprise me. Mikey said, I'm worried about Macca after a Spanish contingent is broken up. I think we will have concerns about Macca in the future. I do think that at some point, the prospect of a move to one of the big two in Spain will rear its head, and the player may be open to it. Not yet. I do think he's got at least 2 more years in a Liverpool shirt, but I wouldn't close off the prospect of him leaving to go to Spain at some point. I'm trying to be honest about that. Do I want him to go? No. I want him here for good. Give him the rest of his career at Liverpool, in my mind. Make him the next vice captain. But I do think, he's talked about it himself in the past, being open to the idea. But again, I think he will probably look at his career in stages, and he's now at Liverpool maybe in 2 years' time. if an offer came in and he wanted it and the numbers are right, he may move. But I'm certainly not sitting here thinking we're going to see Alexis McAllister in a Liverpool shirt when he's 28, 29, 30. I just don't. I think they say Wirtz would be the second highest paid player at Liverpool. Look, if the club are happy with the numbers and the wages, I don't really give a shit what we pay him. If Florian Wirtz comes to Liverpool, I'll be a happy fan regardless of what his wages are. Right, so let's end that poll on Diaz because it's pretty clear. So, what do we got? 63% of you guys said that you would rather keep Luis Diaz than have Anthony Gordon. And thank you so much to everyone that did take the time to vote. How much Liverpool are going to offer for Wirtz? 250k per week or more? I would imagine more, at a guess. Certainly before tax, I would say you're talking 300k upwards. But just a guess, of course. Michael Morgan said if he leaves, as long as it's not to Madrid, I'd be happy. You know what, mate? I would almost bet that that's exactly the Spanish club he would end up at if he does go. But again, I don't think we have to deal with this headache for a couple of years yet. And yeah, we've enough of them for now. Anfield Index recently posted Leverkusen are interested in Elliot. Well, there is certainly interest in the Bundesliga there. I'm not saying Anfield Index are wrong, by the way. I know they had a German football expert on there recently, and they certainly know their onions over there. They're a good group of lads. But Dortmund were a team that I remember having interest in Harvey Elliott. But Kwanzaa, Elliott, and Tyler Morton all have interest from Bundesliga clubs. So I would say that the folks at Anfield Index are probably on the money with that one. I just don't personally know that information about Elliott and Leverkusen. But again, could absolutely see it being possible. Right. I'm going to say goodnight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go record the news update video with the late news stuff. So do keep an eye out for that dropping in the next 20-25 minutes. Remember, tomorrow is our last live stream until Sunday. So do hope you can join me tomorrow for the late night agenda. Appreciate you all. If you're coming to see one of our shows in Liverpool, can't wait to catch up with you on Sunday and Wednesday. To everybody else that dropped in tonight, really appreciate your support as always. Whatever you're doing, have a wonderful weekend ahead of you. And yeah, we'll catch up tomorrow. Take care. Much love. Bye-bye.